Hello, my name is Josiah Wambacher, and I am the director and production designer of Slitzweitz, my senior thesis. Slitzweitz is a stop-motion animated short about a retired garden gnome who lives in the forest and grows flowers. We're taking a lot of inspiration from Gnomes by Will Hugen. It was a book that was written in the early 70s in Dutch, and it was kind of like a scientific approach to studying gnomes.
The biggest thing right now that I'm doing in pre-production is working on the animatic, and what that is really just laying the foundation for the visual storytelling.
This is the first time I'm working on a stop-motion film, so I'm really excited to figure out ways that we're going about color grading and going about capturing stills rather than a video file.
I'm excited to be able to create the soundscape for this world. Being in a fantasy environment and stuff like that is really interesting for sound, to be able to build the soundscapes from the ambience to the footprint design and the sound of the deer and stuff that happen throughout this film.
I love stop-motion animation specifically because it utilizes so many different textures. It's just a really immersive medium that takes a lot of care and attention to detail. I think it produces a really magical product. I love slowing down and really engaging with materials to make something.
What I'm most excited about is actually getting to see Josiah making the different assets and the different props in this film. I know that Josiah is a genius when it comes to creating.
I'm just excited to see it come to life, honestly. It was so fun writing it and working with Josiah to figure out what his vision was.
Very much like Ever-Flowing, Richie and I's animated piece along with Mel. This short is also a big investment in the kind of expansion of our campus's Department of Cinema. We really want to see more animation, whether it's hand-drawn, 3D, or stop motion. That starts kind of at the ground level with us, the students, showing that interest by making things that we want to make.
I've really noticed a gap in the world of filmmaking in our program. There's a large emphasis on directing and cinematography, but not a lot on sound or art. It's an issue that a lot of film programs run into. And so I'm hoping that this project not only shows that we can create intersectionality between departments, but I hope it also shows and opens up possibilities for people who aren't filmmakers. Just because you're an artist who paints or does charcoal doesn't mean you can't tell a story that moves.
Animation just will reach you as a child or as an adult. Hopefully it impacts people the same way that those movies have impacted us to make this at all.
I really hope that this project impacts the viewers in a way that takes an inside peek at fatherhood. I'm really making this film to be a love letter to my dad. It's funny because we have never really compared him to a gnome, but the more I've thought about it, the more it's just very apparent that that is exactly who he is. He's a little crotchety. He definitely has his own little environments and crazy ecosystems that he's made for himself. But he also is gentle and caring and very passionate about the things that he loves, and he loves his family. Most importantly, he loves growing and cultivating things. He's left an imprint on my life, but also just with vegetation. Actually physically growing things, he loves doing that. And so that has been something that has allowed him to persevere as he has navigated trials and a lot of health problems and complications. You know, my dad is disabled, so I've had to see my dad progress from being a normal person to who he is today, and that's been really challenging for me and has left me struggling to understand why that can happen to somebody, why that's okay. A lot of the things that I will be building are actual things in my life. Lars's house is a stump, and that is a stump in our backyard right next to my dad's garden. My goal is to create and only use flowers that my dad loves. In a way, my dad gave a love letter to me in a physical form of a garden, and I am giving him a love letter back in a physical form of a video. It would mean so much to me if you could contribute to our project. Money is always going to be a necessary thing. Unfortunately, that creates a lot of boundaries and barriers for creativity and creation of art. We're really hoping to be able to raise $5,000 to make this project. Even if you can't buy a gnome, even if you can't, donate a lot, anything helps. And if you can't pay for anything, it's always impactful to share. I'm sure that with your friends, whether that's face-to-face or on your story or reposting it, any form of sharing and getting the word out will be impactful in this project.